Mizu, yo, bro, I had to go pee real quick before I get started. Had a long ride home, so I'm halfway through a Modelo, and it's already making me piss. But I'm here. What happened? What'd I do? Oh shit, I pressed the button on the controller. I'm trying to pick up the controller, and now alright, screen's back. There we go. There we go. Alright, bro, it's motherfucking Thursday. It's Friday Eve. Bro, that's why the lights were still out. I've been trying to let the AC and fan cool this bitch off for a minute, bro. Woo! It's maxed out, bro. We redlining over here, man. We redlining, bro. You know what I'm saying? This is what happens on the 3rd floor, man. They say heat rises. Heat rises, man. All the heat in the whole house come right up here. And they make this bitch in here hot as shit. Well, I got a little cowlick in the front. What is this going on here? I gotta twist my hair this weekend. My shit getting fuzzy. Or I might just let it fuzz all the way up and just fucking do the goddamn Bar Marley dreads for a while. Oh, alright, Thursday. Long day, long day. I did prison this morning, went straight to the prison this morning. I got there, had all my lesson plans ready and my assignments. I signed in, and there's a security guard to the front who I don't think I've ever seen him before. I'm not familiar with this guy, so he didn't recognize me. And he was like, oh, what do you need? I'm like, I'm here for class. I'm here to teach class this morning. He was like, oh, the prison's locked down this morning. No classes are going on. I'm like, that's fine with me, bro. So I skipped my prison class this morning due to a lockdown. But this afternoon I did do my STEM program with the kids, which was cool. But like I said, the day was long. And now it's time to chill in the motherfucking studio, dog. We chilling in the studio, dog.
What's one of the other obvious benefits of the emergence of this space is well-educated people having brilliant and interesting conversations. The conversation between Joe Rogan and Terrence Howard is pretty surprising, isn't it? Because conversations like that remind
Everybody's still talking about that conversation.
Pretty well informed when it comes to, for example, spike proteins or cellular formation or the impact of gene therapies. Look at this conversation between a stand-up comedian podcaster and an actor and note how implausible that would have been 10 years ago. And it's because, in fact, as is acknowledged in the clip, of the conversations that Joe Rogan started, or at least amplified, and that we continue to participate in.
Shirt off, dog. It's really hot up in here,
is that without
if I start sweating,
industrial complex,
don't
without
blame
the ongoing legitimization of controlling what sort of information you get access to, centralized power cannot be victorious. Because when you have actors and comedians casually chatting about the dangers of gene therapy and spike protein, which you know the WHO treaty is designed to prevent going forward, you recognize that what we have in our hands now is seismic. We have the technology and the ability to create new localized democracies, to challenge for the first time the great minotaurs, the great monoliths of centralized power. And it's all come in that most extraordinary form, the podcast. In this case, in the conversation between Joe Rogan and Terrence Howard. Just notice how extraordinarily high the standard of conversation is and the amount of information and standard of information that's being conveyed and exchanged here. It's astonishing.
They listen to everything I say.
They do.
I'm sure.
They do. You
It's a lot of boring shit.
You took a bold stand, though, years ago when the governments were trying to poison their citizens. You took a very bold stand that nobody else took. That's what I was like, wow. I appreciate you because I lost 3-4 jobs because I refused to take it. I refused.
So that you feel better about it now?
Well,
especially when you know all these people that have health problems because of it?
Cancers have increased 300%.
Yeah. All-cause mortality up 40% in some age groups.
Pulmonary embolisms almost up like 500%.
Yeah. What caused that?
Well, it's spike proteins that's being built and collected within the system.
Pulmonary aneurysms are up 25%, all-cause mortality. It's unbelievable, isn't it, to hear those kind of statistics being exchanged in a casual conversation that's likely being viewed by about 20 million people. When you look at the kind of content that the legacy media is putting out, whether it's through late-night chat shows or news media, this is another world. The world we live in truly is another world. This is why that world is being maligned, because it's pretty clear that neither of these men are bad actors on a global stage. They're like three individuals chatting, and if you chat to either of them for long enough, I'm sure you'd come across subjects that you disagreed with them on. But that's hardly the point. What is significant is the ability to convey significant information that the establishment do not want being discussed. Believe me, Moderna, Pfizer, various NGO organisations are tracking, indeed that was the start of the conversation, that was the point that they started on, tracking conversations like these and looking for ways to discredit it. The invention of the terms malinformation, misinformation and disinformation, the spate of global censorship laws are not being augured in order to protect you, which is in case someone goes, hey, you know what's good for you? Drinking paint or sticking a fuel pump up your ass. I saw one guy try it on a forecourt. It's a miracle cure. It's not there to protect you. It's to legitimise ways of preventing these conversations from going viral and getting popularised. If you look at the WHO treaty, it's essentially an attempt to ensure that were there another global event, medical, military, or meteorological, they would have the power to censor information. They would have the power to impose lockdowns. They would have the power to mandate medicines. Now, at the moment, because of conversations like this one, the one we're having right now, and because of the space created to a degree by Joe Rogan, it's very difficult for them to censor and control that information and prevent the sort of momentum that's gathering. And if
Omizu gang now. He got a wrench and everything. It ain't, you got a wrench fast, Omizu. Fast. Way faster than a lot of people. But that's because over the years, even just through simple text, I can tell you cool, bro. Yeah. Omizu, he gang now. But I am still enamored by Terrence Howard. I can't help it. I think that episode of Joe Rogan was insightful. See, it took the rest of us a while for our wrenches. It did. I ain't had no wrenches for like a long time. A long time. But our group's so small now. You know, anybody who steps in frequently, you might as well be part of the family. I don't do shit. I sit here and paint, man. We chat, we listen to some shit. So if you like hanging out with us, doing this shit right here, hey, gang. But when I hear interesting things, topics, concepts, ideas, I like to share that shit, yo. So we have a new GED teacher at our organization, and before he came there, he was teaching physics at some university. He was a really smart guy, and no, he was teaching astronomy. He's a space dude. And so I was talking to him about that shit today, and he said he didn't watch that episode yet. But I told him he should check that shit out. Wait a minute. Drinking this tall ass can of beer. This is why I don't drink beer a lot. Because I pee. Like this can right here, I'll pee 10 times off of this one can of beer. Hey, that's why I drink.
Inevitably, that momentum spills into politics and you get new political figures that would have just been shut down. 10 years ago, you would not get the kind of diffuse political candidates, even though the systems themselves are creaking and straining and attempting to ensure that it's manageable and malleable and that you don't get radicals emerging and you don't get third-party candidates on the ballot. And you have elections in a country like mine where you choose between two globalists, but they can see the way the wind is blowing. They can see that this technology and this kind of communication will facilitate change, will facilitate radicalism, will properly facilitate decentralization, because you might disagree with me on 1,000 things, starting with this hat and ending with this one, but you might agree with my right to be free in the same way that I agree with your right to be free. And once we have that covenant between us, we are deadly lethal. And if you can amplify that to cultural, racial, sociological, hot button topics, I don't care, yeah, pro-life, pro-choice, you go for it, pro-gun, anti-gun, whatever you want to do in your representative region, you go do it. Minimal government, minimal intervention, only the facility for us to oppose global corporatism, to shut down the kind of corruption that happens when big pharma and the military-industrial complex puppet our collective governments exactly into the theatre of their own desire. Once we are united, they're finished. They're finished. So something that seems relatively quotidian, colloquial, vernacular and easy, like a chat between an actor and a podcaster, is the very kind of thing that could change the world. And that seems astonishing to me, even as someone that, to a degree, thanks to you, participates in those conversations. We can't continue to bring you this awakening and hopefully enjoyable content without the support of our partners. That's why I've got to ask you, and I'm glad to ask you, are you struggling with back taxes or unfiled returns? The IRS is escalating collections, adding, get this, 20,000 new agents and sending over 5 million collection letters to kick off 2024 to spend on things that you probably don't agree with, like what?
This is another thing though, too. So, my channel gets shadow banned. Like, once again, you already see there's hardly anybody in here. So I don't get trolls. Like in the early days, people would just pop in, just not from the YouTube link, but from the PlayStation Live link. And so, I mean, trolls used to be everywhere, bro. Like you couldn't stop the trolls, bro. It was crazy. That's why I just started giving out wrenches. I was like, yo, I need help. But now, like, so few people come in here that I rarely get trolls anymore. Like, because nobody really watches the channel. So, but just in case, if a troll come in, I got backup. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Shrek beat it. Yo, forget about it. Forget about it. Yo, when the last time you stopped through, bro? Yo, we are literally in the midst of a conversation of talking about like how the community has changed. Yo, Forget About It has been in here like 6 years ago, 7 years ago. Same old shit, bro. Didn't I send you my music back in the day too? Yo, man, what's good, yo? Yo, Forget About It. That's good, bro. Same old shit, man. Hey, I don't give a damn. Whenever you pop in this goddamn stream, bro, I'm doing the same thing. Motherfucker, you be like, yo, what's up? What's good? What you doing? The same shit. Yo, this shit don't change, bro. Yo, that nigga trap, that nigga paint. He don't do nothing but paint. Everybody should know that. Yo, that's all we still doing, bro. Year after year after year after year, I just keep making more paintings and more paintings and more paintings and more paintings, and we just still chipping away at it, bro. Still chipping away, slowly but surely. Yes, sir, bro. Yo, the newest Call of Duty that's out, bro. I'm kind of ashamed to admit, like, I think I crest 1,000 hours on that shit already. I be trying to play other games, man. I'm playing Helldivers 2. I'm playing Tiny Tina's Wonderland. I downloaded this other free game called X Defiant. It's like a Call of Duty clone. It's just a first-person shooter. I be trying to play some other shit, but man, yeah, Call of Duty, that shit like own my life right now. Man, I don't even know why you asking that, bro. Yeah, put me up with it. Just download that X Defiant because it's free. I mean, you might as well just to try it out if it's a free game, you know. Just try that shit out. It's so popular right now because it's free and new that the servers be full. It be taking like a minute to get into a match because everybody trying to play that shit right now. Trap House Entertainment. That shit is Trap House, all capital letters, and then E-N-T in lowercase letters. Trap House, and then E-N-T in lowercase. Yeah, I be needing more people to game with too, yo, cause the Helldivers 2, like, a lot of my homies don't got that shit, yo. A lot of the people I game with. That's why I be on Call of Duty so much, cause everybody got that shit. And then plus like that Warzone, that's free, so people play that shit a lot. Yes, sir. I'll definitely pick it up. Shit, that's what I'm doing as soon as I get out of here. I done went to work. I'm gonna paint for a little minute. I'm gonna go eat something and play some video games till it's time to go to bed. That is, if I can quit pissing from this beer. I ain't drinking no more of this beer yet.
Measures and a total lack of infrastructure. In these challenging times, your best defense is Tax Network USA. Don't let the IRS take advantage of you. With over 14 years of experience, Tax Network USA have saved their clients over $1 billion in back taxes. No matter the size of your tax issue, their expertise is your advantage. They specialize in negotiating with the IRS, aiming to significantly reduce your debt. Tax Network USA doesn't just negotiate, they also protect your assets from IRS seizures and manage your yearly returns for ongoing compliance. Importantly, they are licensed to help you with all state tax issues, regardless of where you live in the United States. The clock is ticking. Don't wait as the IRS steps up its game. Seize control of your financial future now. Contact Tax Network USA for immediate relief and expert guidance. Call 1-800-245-6000 or visit taxnetworkusa.com/brand. Don't let tax issues overpower you. Turn to Tax Network USA and find your path to financial peace of mind. Right, let's get back to this content.
I can walk you through what the spike protein did to the BRCA1 gene. That's that gene inside of our DNA that tells us that there's damage that's happening, almost like the crews that go along the highway and they immediately put up cones every time there's a problem. Well, the spike protein, which is no protein has ever been able to enter into the nucleus of a cell. Not only does it go to the ribosome and say, hey, you know what? I don't want you to produce whatever protein, like if it was a skin cell. You're not going to produce keratin anymore. You're just going to produce these spike proteins. That spike protein went into the DNA, and it tells the BRCA1 gene, turn off. And that's the gene that says, hey, there's a mutation here. Let's scrap that thing. And so now the cancers are building up. The spike proteins weren't shedding from the body. They collected in the ovaries. They collected in the lymph nodes. They collected in the bone marrow. So now we have all of these diseases that's showing themselves because the body is overwhelmed trying to deal with the spike protein that's attaching itself to the ACE2 and the endothelial cells in our vascular system for everybody out.
And the more you get,
boom,
you're
worse turning your system off. You're turning it off. Your body cannot defend itself, and it's just collecting. It's just collecting.
More important, perhaps, than the subject they're discussing, in this case, it seems massive corruption within the pharmaceutical industry and the agencies that regulate them and the governments that facilitated the mass uptake and the media that participated in that, and the very fact that it seems to be...
Yo, Zipper, a lot of people like it. And then a lot of people, it's weird. Nobody has outright said they don't like it, but they say that's kind of weird, or that's different. Exactly. This is now the X-Defiant is a Tom Clancy game. Yo, an X-Defiant is a Ubisoft game, and it has all Ubisoft in there, yo. It has the Division. It has goddamn Splinter Cell. It has Far Cry. So it takes characters from all of the fucking Ubisoft games and put them in a fucking PvP shit, yo. Yo, that's why that shit's so good, yo. I'm like, yo, that shit, wow, the concept, like, who came up with that shit, yo? Like, what if we could play with all our games together, yo? Who you think would win in a 1v1 with Sam Fisher versus somebody from the goddamn Division? Or somebody from goddamn Rainbow Six? Yo, that shit wild, yo. As soon as I seen that part of it, I was like, yo, that's different. That's cool, because each game is standalone, so it has its own attributes to it. And so they take the attributes from the game concepts and bring them in together. So like from the Division, you got the pyromaniac motherfuckers who got flamethrowers and shit. From the Splinter Cell unit, Sam was like a super spy. That motherfucker got like a cloaking ability to go invisible. And those are really the only two I played. I ain't gonna lie. I don't, because I only played a couple matches. Like I said, everybody trying to play that shit, man. And that shit got a tough ass learning curve. Yo, motherfuckers in there getting 25 kills. I'm getting 2. I'm getting 2 kills. I'm like, yo, how y'all motherfuckers? I got frustrated. I ain't even gonna lie, yo. But it's a fun game. It's free. It's free, and the concept is cool. I tried to change the speed of the horizontal aim, and I couldn't, because it seems like, to me, it's a little slow. Like, it's kind of clunky when you're moving and then you go to scope. It feels like a fucking pause. Like I said, I play so much Call of Duty, yo. When you're about to scope in Call of Duty, you can already be pivoting at the same time and scoping like this. But in that game, it's like when you initiate the scope down sights, when you initiate that, it like nullifies your horizontal. So you gotta wait until the scope is all the way up, and then you can do that. And I'm like, I don't know, I just felt like it felt slow, and I looked through the option. Honestly, there is no options, or I didn't find one. I paused the game, and there's a list of things you can do, and it's like exit game, change loadout, but I didn't see option selection where you can change settings in the game. So I was like, I don't like that, because I feel like I'm moving too slow, and everybody else is killing me fast as hell. But I'll probably play it some more though. And it's not even a big file either, because I thought I would have to like uninstall something off the system to download that game, but it just once I hit download, it just went through. I ain't had to do nothing. Oh, yeah, you gotta check it out, man. You gotta check it out. And I didn't even like one of the homies. I was playing goddamn Call of Duty, and then one of the homies hit the chat. And he was like, "Yo, X Defiant is free. It's a pretty cool game," in the chat. And I was like, "All right." So I just left out. I went to the store, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm downloading it now." So I wouldn't even known about that shit, because it's not like on the front page of the store or nothing. Like, not that. Oh, you know what? I think it is up front now, like closer to the front. But if he didn't tell me, I wouldn't have looked for that shit. I don't know. Every once in a while, I do just go to the store and type in free games and see what you can get for free. Plus, if you have the plus, you get the monthly games, and that's why I feel like it's kind of worth it, because games are fucking $70 on average. So if I pay $100 and something bucks a year, I get access to at least 3 free games a month, even if I only like one a month. That's still 12 fucking games a year, plus access to like the free content. So, honestly, I don't play a lot of different games. I've been gaming for I've been playing games for 30 years. I've seen everything. I'm ready for some new innovation in games right now. I'll be right back too.
Some peculiar global agenda is this. Ordinary people that haven't been to university, that haven't been through the sanctioned channels of education, usually designed to generate compliance, are autodidacts now. We're all educated. We're all awakening together. We can all participate in this conversation, and that leads to revolution. Why do you think it took so long before this book was allowed to be put into print at all and allowed to be printed in English? Because educated and awakened people, whether you think of that particular piece of literature or from some people's perspective, sacred text, the ability for people to educate themselves, to communicate openly, to find points to interface at, to find points where we are commensurate with one another, where we have a consensus, is extremely dangerous. They want us atomized, divided, lost, bewildered and confused, lost perhaps in primal pleasure and easy everyday distraction, belonging at best to our own desires rather than belonging to something sacred like service and unity. It can be found everywhere. There are people across the political spectrum that are willing to die for what they believe in, and regardless of what point of view it is you believe you're supporting, if you can find principles that are as close to universal as damn it, like free speech or representative systems of self-organization, then there is a chance. Do you see that even in this conversation, in this cultural artifact, the Joe Rogan podcast, you can see now systems of opposition, systems of dissent and disobedience, systems of potential revolution. And that's why during the coronavirus pandemic, the entire legacy media machinery descended upon Joe Rogan like the locusts they are. That's why anyone who opens their mouth in this space will face smear campaigns and attempts to shut them down.
Because I like Joe Rogan. I like listening to Joe Rogan. And it's not just him, it's the fact that he he really brings on interesting guests. Like, his guests are always like some cool ass people, even if you disagree with him sometimes. So it's not just Joe Rogan. It's like the people he talked to, and they hate that shit. They hate that his show is so fucking popular, yo. They hate that he can reach so many fucking people with different ideas, with no agenda. He has no agenda. He just talks to people, everybody, and they hate that shit, bro. And when that COVID shit was high, yo, and he was knocking that shit down like, nah, I'm not getting vaccinated. And then Terrence comes on there and he is like, yo, you know how many acting roles that I lost because I refused to get vaccinated? I'm not getting the jab, bro. And at that time, everybody who was like that is like, oh, you goddamn anti-vaxxer, this and that, blah, 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 blah. It's like, yo. And now, after a few years, and now we got all the studies and data and reports that come out, like, man, that shit kind of fucked people up, yo. Did it really work? You know what I'm saying? Look, bro. That shit fucked people up. So I might get a custom rug made. You can't let some Joe Schmo come in here and be like, you know you waste $130,000 on that piece of paper, right? Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that. You're wrong. The science says, look, man, the scientific method specifically implies if you wrong, you wrong. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I went to Oxford, Harvard, Princeton University. I don't give a fuck where you went, bro. Look at this. It says you're wrong.
if you look into it, you will find government agencies, big pharma countries, military, industrial complex, NGOs, peculiar organisations often funded by government money, participating in the surveillance and censorship of those individuals. But together, the good news is, we can oppose their warfare and their lawfare. We can oppose their propaganda and their proper lies by awakening together. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments and the chat. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our...
Hey, that's just what I think. Let me know what you think. Here's another interview. Yo, what's up with this nigga hair? Is this his hair or is... Wait a minute. Alright. Yo, look at his hair. Is that a wig? That's an hour and 42 minutes. I wonder what he's talking about there. You wanna just how long have you been here? You've been here like 30 minutes already, 40 minutes. Let's just catch a snippet. I'm gonna skip like halfway through or something and see, like halfway through. Let's just see what he's talking about.
The thing is, I forgot that 50% of me is genetically predisposed to become a mommy. So all I have to do is look down at my hand. Oh, there's my mommy right there. And I shouldn't have never been afraid. So being afraid is a terrible, terrible thing. Yeah. But nothing happens by accident. Because if that had happened, I would have continued making money. I wouldn't have cared about the truth. I wouldn't have cared about where we are. I wouldn't have cared about the IRS. The IRS led me to the idea of what in the hell are we paying taxes? If my family was forced to come over here,
umbrella of Christian, and there are a lot of erroneous doctrines that are
in Christendom
that don't, purport what God actually has.
Harem. Because of producing 1,500 sperm per heartbeat, so that and the women, the females, recognize that that's what's. So how is it that if we're 98.7% identical to them, why are we attempting to live completely isolated and not following those same rules of nature? Why are we trying to do the 1.3%?
That's a serious question.
Yes.
And as a female, we've had so many issues with that because it sounds like polygamy. And
sounds like nature.
It sounds like nature.
98.7.
Polygamous. So my question to that would be, and this is something I pose to other people who are of that same thought, which is, if it is in fact how we should be cohabitating, then how do we explain STDs when you're with multiple partners? How do we reconcile that happening?
It's within what takes, does the simians, does the chimpanzees walk around with STDs? No, because they do not allow the females to go and cohabitate with other males outside of it. Stays within this community. Now, the difference between us, we are not in a position to carry out the natural order of things because we are not self-sufficient.
Right.
We're not working within our own environment, so we have to ascribe to a different way of life. Like me, I have my one, and I don't have a desire to be with anyone else because this is not the environment in which you can do that. But if it was great, if I had the environment that facilitated the natural course, you know, I would love to have a few other individuals helping with raising the family, you know, but at 55, you know, my appetite is...
That's a lot of work.
You know, it's work.
That's a lot.
I can barely keep up with my one now. And,
exactly.
And her sex drive, because she's 47 now, has changed. So now she wants to play, and I'm like,
listen,
I was like 1,500 sperm per heartbeat years ago. I don't think I'm there anymore.
That's a lot of work. That's my other thing. It's like it's too much work to deal with one woman. Okay, so
but I'm just
multiple is gonna be a lot of work.
I'm just trying to exemplify the fact that
I get it.
That we are not living in a natural, under natural conditions.
And then, and even in natural conditions, that's when you're in your prime. She's saying, oh, now when you're 55, yeah, if I have multiple wives now, that means I've had multiple wives for years when I was in my prime, when they were in their prime. That's how nature works. You know what I'm saying? And then, once again, if you look at any large mammal group that acts in a social dynamic, there's always an alpha male, and he always has like his harem, and that's mostly how it goes most of the time with mammals. We're mammals, if I'm not mistaken. We're like the alpha mammal. But we fight so hard against nature for some mysterious Western ideology, who base their ideology on Middle Eastern doctrines where people have multiple wives. It's the weirdest thing.
And we have a lot of problems associated with that.
So what would you say is your foundation as a man of where all of this massive information comes from? Your thought process, the way you think, what you receive, because I hear you talking about revelation a lot, but where do you attribute that? Like, where is that coming from? Because you don't think like the average person, obviously.
No, because I don't identify with average. You know, I don't identify with that. When I look in the mirror, I see the Creator. Okay. You know, I don't see anything short of the Creator. You know, and there's not one part of me that wasn't made from the Creator. So there's not one part of me that's not perfect. You know, maybe my perception and understanding isn't there because I've allowed myself to be influenced by other things, but I see myself in the most humble way as being directly from the Creator, and I see everyone else and everything else as being directly from the Creator, even the plastic that makes this up, that carbon is still vibrating at the key of E. Breathing in and breathing out, we look at this and call it dead, but that Browning effect is the life principle continuing on in it. So when I recognize that this is alive, and recognize that I'm alive, and I recognize that this carries the same nature of the Creator, then it recognizes that in me, and so there's an equanimity. You know, and I don't see myself above a piece of tissue or below the Creator Himself. So there's a balance of it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a very provoking mindset to have. Because of your extensive experience in life that most people don't get to do, you know, with acting and everything else. What would you say has been the most rewarding of everything you've done?
No offense, but if you still think stocks, real estate, or crypto are the best passive income investments in today's economy, I'm sorry.
The most rewarding thing that's ever happened to me or that I've accomplished
that you've done.
Being able to define the entire electric field or the plasmic field and patent it.
Yeah.
And the things that I discovered with that prove that the platonic solids, which our entire infrastructure is built off, were only averages and approximations, and that all of the postulates and axioms they built off of are erroneous. And being able to present that, but also being given the blessing of defining the magnetic field, the feminine side, and patenting those, the expansion or the unfolding of the universe, but then being given the opportunity to define the neutral that sits between it, or the Constitution, which is the linchpin that mitigates between the micro, which is the electric world, and the macro, which is the magnetic world, and this works as a bridge, a common factor between. So having discovered and patented the grand unified field equation, and putting it into practice and building all of these new industries that have come from it, from transcendental lighting to tangential flight, to in supersymmetrical systems. I've patented 4 supersymmetrical systems. And a supersymmetrical system is, it always aligns. That's how the universe behaves. And according to science, there are no supersymmetrical systems because the platonic solids have a thing called discrete symmetry. And for everybody out there,
I was just about to say
the platonic solids were 5 polygons that that are based upon straight lines and flat planes. And they're the tetrahedron, the hexahedron or the cube, the octahedron, the dodecahedron, and the icosahedron. Now, for millennia, since the days of Pythagoras and the days of Plato, these were the undisputed, fundamentals of God, and they said that they pulled it out of the flower of life. Now, my biggest question, well, another thing based on what's my greatest accomplishment, would have been to question mathematical fallacy that 1 times 1 equals 1. Because how could an action times an action not have a reaction? Because every action has a natural reaction. So I was like, how did they come up with this irrational and illogical set of things? If to multiply means to make more, then how can 1 times 1 equaling 1 be part of a multiplication table? It fails to satisfy the term multiply. So questioning that, and in the first, second, third grade, as I came along, that courage towards curiosity and an unbridled passion towards finding the truth, which therefore the Bible or any other book has to be held. You have to question it and make sure that everything that it says and purports to be is what it is, because as a Jehovah's Witness, when I was a Jehovah's Witness, if my child would have been sick and needed blood, I wouldn't have given them blood because of Genesis 9:4 about not putting blood in your body. And then, but we were told as witnesses, we got to stay away from astrology. Stay away from astrology. And I'm like, why stay away from astrology? Why do I need? Because they told the truth about Christmas, told the truth about Easter, told the truth about holidays, all of this stuff. But why stay away from astrology? Well, it turns out all religion has come from astrology, and the astrology was astronomy. And they were trying to make sense of the heavens and how time passed and these bodies. And it turns out the sun going through the 12 constellations.
You can tell when a person has no clue to what someone is talking about when they're just saying, I mean, it's good that she's letting them talk, but she's not even trying to, like, ask for any clarification, even for her audience, because she's just saying, like she understands everything that he's saying. I hope she has some really good rebuttal questions, because I'm liking this dude now. It seems like every chance he gets to talk about, this is the only thing he talks about. This dude really has no other conversations.
they anthropomorphized those 12 constellations, and they became the disciples. And there's every story, every culture from...
What did they say? You know what? Because I didn't even listen to Game Ranks report on that shit. Nope, I didn't hear that. No, you know what? You know what? Shit. You could have just said, yo, put Game Ranks on. They did it before you buy on a free game 1 day ago. That's why I didn't see it. They just did it. No. Like I said, I just got it. Yeah, it was yesterday.
Welcome back to another episode of Before You Buy.
I don't know. It was the day before. It was the day before yesterday. Because I didn't play it when I downloaded it. And I played it yesterday for the first time.
Show where we give you some straight up gameplay and our first impressions of the latest games releasing. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on Game Ranks, skill-based matchmaking, SBMM for short, SBM. That's the word of the day, and the hook that Ubisoft is using to try to bring some attention to the newest free-to-play FPS, XDefiant. It's a word that's become increasing.
And so it says new player. And it's like, we'll match you with other new players who are closer to your rank. But I think Call of Duty already does that. I really do. I think that's already a thing. Or is no other game does that right now? Because sometimes, like, even on, like I say, on Call of Duty, man, we be in my one homie lobby. It seems like we can't never get no wins in his lobby, bro. Like if he the squad lead and he's leading the match and putting us in the matches and shit in his lobby, like yo, that should be too hard. Like yo, why we can't get no kills in this? Yo, give somebody else the lead, man. You got this sweaty ass lobby. But yeah, I noticed on this game too. It specifically said that if you're a new player, it says below level 25, I think. If you're below level 25, you can have the option of playing with only people below level 25. But then, like I say, man, I still can't get no kills in that bitch, bro.
Controversial in online multiplayer servers. A lot of people starting to turn on the entire concept. And this game is jumping into the discourse with both barrels. The developers threw down the gauntlet with this statement where they said, in no uncertain terms, we, the developers, believe that no SBM is paramount to fun and a varied game experience in the long term, and said that there would be no skill-based matchmaking in the casual playlist. If you've played enough COD, or at least have been paying attention to the community lately, this is a big deal. Skill-based matchmaking is when a game tries to match up players of a similar skill level, which doesn't sound that bad at first glance. It just sounds like a more even playing field, but it can also be a drag where every game is repetitive and you can tell how it's going to be decided within the first 30 seconds. Without skill-based matchmaking, XDefiant hopes to make matches that are more varied and fun for casual players. A fine idea, but unfortunately the issues surrounding the game are more interesting than the game itself. Have you played Call of Duty? It's like that, with some pretty standard hero players thrown in. XDefiant is a free-to-play 6v6 or 4v4 team-based arena shooter, and if you've ever played another game like this, that is incredibly easy to jump into because it's practically the same. You've got your standard selection of guns. There's 24, but everything but the baseline weapons are locked from the start. You can slide, main tilt, crouch, there's aim down sights, weapon mods on lock, as you increase your weapon level. It's Call of Duty with a few Overwatch powers and game modes. It doesn't play as smoothly as your modern Call of Duty game, but it's serviceable with the fast respawn times that keep you never really waiting around. The real wait it comes in the lobbies, at least for people who tried to get into the game the first day. The server situation on day one was an absolute disaster, almost as bad as Payday 3. Here's my experience trying to get in the game. I join a lobby, wait around for a minute, the game kicks me out, I try again, and again, and again. Sometimes it kicked me out within seconds. Others, I had to stare at the screen for minutes before it would boot.
Yo, that's what I've said the exact same thing. I should have just did my own before you buy on this shit. The lobby's crazy. It's so hard to get into that shit, man. And then, like I said, it's a little bit clunky. Kind of clunky with the aim and shit. But it's free. I mean, how much can you? That's why I say it's definitely not Call of Duty. But the hero characters, like you said, that's another kind of cool aspect about it, is you got all these different characters from the different Ubisoft universes. Why? Ubisoft universe. Damn, I couldn't hardly say that shit just now. Then yesterday I did watch the new live trailer for the new Assassin's Creed. That's up and out now, and it looks pretty good. Except there's already one thing that I think they're gonna play it out a certain way, and I don't like that. But more than likely you'll be able to change that. But in the new trailer for Assassin's Creed, you'll be able to choose between two characters. You might be able to like swap between them throughout the entire game, or you can just choose to play from one perspective. I don't think they really made that known, or it might be like a dual character game through and through. But the weapons, the one character is like a really fast character, and they made the Sasuke character, the Black Samurai, like a tank, because he is a big guy and he doesn't have a sword. He has more like a spiked mallet or club. It's like a club. Why he ain't got a fucking sword, man? I want to slice and dice. I mean, it's nice, like pulverizing motherfuckers to a pulp, but I wanna cut a motherfucker. But like I say, more than likely you'll be able to switch weapons or something.
Aspect title screen, but it went on like this for hours, way too long. I mean, I'm just trying to get some first impressions for the latest games releasing here. Why do you make it so hard, Ubisoft? Why do you make it so hard? When I finally did manage to join a game, the matchmaking couldn't even fill out a full team, leading to ridiculously one-sided matches, and when the game was over in a few minutes, I'd get kicked out of the lobby and the whole process started over again. This is how it was for most of the day. Eventually, the entire Ubisoft launcher went down for an hour or two. Like, the whole thing was really a mess. You'd think they'd have planned this out better for day one, but guess not. At least by the end of the day, it seemed like the matchmaking issue was finally resolved, because I was able to get into games consistently after that. But the netcode, it remained spotty. You never really tell for certain in these games whether it's you or the game. But there's moments where it really felt like my shots were just not being registered at all. And there were multiple instances of me dying around corners. Now, to be quite fair, it wasn't always like that. For the most part, my experience playing the game, like when I was actually in a match, was pretty smooth. But the netcode, it is an issue. It's a thing people are complaining about in the beta, and it seems to not be fully fixed. I am aware that I'm talking about the skills-based matchmaking and server issues more than the actual game, but look at the game. It's Call of Duty. That's what it is. It's not that it's bad, because it's not. It's actually pretty fun as an off-brand Call of Duty with a more reasonable file size and minus the Activision stink.
Okay, like once again, bro, you keep saying the same things that I'm saying. Like even the file size, I was really surprised that I didn't have to delete a game from my home page to download that game. Yo. What's up, man? Huh? We're good, bro. Yeah. I know you own one. You own one right now, but I'm streaming. I'm in my studio making some art, and I'm on my YouTube channel live right now. And so I'll.
As if watching my team lose wasn't punishment.
I'm making art.
It does
man.
have the Ubisoft stink.
I'm in the studio painting, bro. I'm doing something with my life. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing something with my life, man. I'll call you back after I finish doing what I'm doing. No, because I'm live on YouTube. If you tell me, everybody in the whole world is going to hear you live on YouTube. You're interrupting my YouTube channel right now. Yo, my cousin is a fucking trip, bro. This motherfucker don't never want to call me till you like drunk and high.
Welcome back to another episode. They're all pretty fun to play in, and they're guns that appear in every. They could have thrown in some wacky guns to give the game some personality. There's some goofy makeshift weapons in Far Cry 6, or the 3D printed guns in Watch Dogs. They could have thrown in the Gremlin from Ghost Recon, the SC-20K rifle from Splinter Cell. I mean, there's a lot of stuff specific to the franchises included in this game that could have been fun, even as skins. But it's just a bunch of boring, obvious guns that appear in every other FPS game ever. If I can give the game one positive, though, it's the maps. They really remind me of Black Ops 2 in a good way. They're big, colorful, visually interesting. There's a good selection of them. It takes a while before you start seeing the same map in rotation. They're all pretty fun to play in, and they're fairly flat overall. There are a few vertical maps, but only a few. I think for this type of gameplay, the flat maps work better, and they lean into that rather than the other way around. Good choice. Most of the maps are taken in some way from one of the factions, so there's Division maps, there's Far Cry maps, Watch Dogs maps, among others, but those are what stands out most to me. Like, there's a level set on the Noodle campus from Watch Dogs 2, which is a great setting for a multiplayer level. They're pretty well designed, too, and closely follow the...
Yo, as soon as... That's the first map that I played was the Noodle map. As soon as that shit loaded up, I was like, yo, it's fucking... Damn, why I can't call the name already? Dead Set. Yeah, I was like, yo, that shit is crazy. Once again, I like the concept, yo. I like it.
3-lane map style, compared to how sloppy some of the maps got from Modern Warfare 1 and 2. The new ones, I mean, this is a breath of fresh air. The actual game modes aren't anything new, but again, they work well enough. There's no team deathmatch in the casual playlist. You're always playing some kind of objective game, either escorting a robot across the map or holding objectives in various configurations. Like with everything in XDefiant, it's not spectacular, but it works. It was alright. It wasn't great, but it was fine. That's pretty much XDefiant overall. It feels like a game I've already played 100 times before, which is not necessarily bad, but it's also so familiar it doesn't feel like there's much of an identity of its own, other than the Ubisoft branding and the promise of no matchmaking. Which is, I mean, kind of insane, because it's a Ubisoft All-Stars shooter, more or less. If you did take the time to build around the factions a little bit more and lean into them, it could not only be good, but it would even familiarize people with more Ubisoft franchises, who could just come in, like, knowing about one, or not even knowing about any of them. Like, done right, this is, like, a brilliant advertisement for all of Ubisoft's games. But it's not quite there. Also, the no skills-based matchmaking stuff, I don't think it's really that incredible of a selling point. Like, it doesn't make this game an easygoing experience, free of the annoying try-hard players of Call of Duty. Plenty of sweat lords here. There's just plenty of people sliding and bunny hopping and twitching around here, as you'd see in any other arena shooter. And the promise of no skill-based matchmaking doesn't seem to suddenly make this like a casual's paradise or anything. If anything, the game is more difficult for super casual players because of the less aggressive auto-aim. I mean, personally, I think it's an improvement. The auto-aim in games like the Finals and COT are a little out of control. If anyone knows me, I love my Finals, but if there's one criticism, it's probably that. And I think XDefiant is kind of responding to the criticisms of those games, because on controller, you really do have to aim if you want to hit something in this game.
I swear.
At close range, the auto aim's pretty sticky, but at medium and long ranges, you're practically on your own. I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but compared to these other games with really forgiving auto aim, it feels like night and day, even if it's not necessarily you definitely being on your own. But the game runs well and feels smooth to play outside the netcode issues, which it should, because it doesn't just play a lot like Black Ops 2. It looks a lot like it too. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, and I think the art style and general colorful aesthetic does make the game look pretty nice at times, but this isn't a system-melting visual tour de force. It's a free-to-play multiplayer shooter that Ubisoft wants on as many devices as possible, so at least it runs well. But speaking of free-to-play, what do the microtransactions look like? Well, honestly, they could be worse. Ubisoft promised the microtransactions were going to be cosmetic only, and I think that's mostly true, at least from what I've seen. There's also these stupid experience boosters that are in a lot of free-to-play games. So, I mean, that's the one ding on that, but man, if you try to use one of these things when the game launched, you might as well flush it down the digital toilet. There's a preseason battle pass, which, I mean, what else do I need to say about that? It's your usual battle pass crap. Skins, emotes, other worthless junk you can grind for if you really want it. Most of the stuff you'd actually want, it's unlocked separately from the battle pass, including the DedSec faction, if you're willing to grind for it. For me, it's not the worst monetization I've ever seen. It's pretty standard at this point. It doesn't make free-to-play monetization good or anything, but there's nothing really super egregious here. And at this point, you can play the game.
I did notice that you can only choose one character from each faction, and yeah, the DedSec faction was locked. And I questioned that, like, does it come unlocked at a certain level? Do you have to buy those, or? But yeah, I was just trying to play. I didn't look into a lot of it. You know what? I might hop on that for a little while after I wrap up in here. Just to because I don't think I streamed any gameplay from it. But he's saying the same thing, man. It's a Call of Duty clone. It's not great. It's not Call of Duty. It's just different, and the maps are. That's one thing that you will notice immediately. Like, the maps are cool looking.
Pretty smoothly without spending any money. So XDefiant's not a bad alternative to Call of Duty. You can actually leave this thing installed in your system and it doesn't take up half your hard drive, which is an automatic plus. But I just don't think it does enough to make itself stand out. Like, there's no real hook here. No big standout game mode or interesting feature that makes somebody stand up and take notice. Yeah. When the most exciting thing that people can say about this game is that there's no skill-based matchmaking, that's not really something that's going to grab a casual audience. Like, do you think casual players are talking about matchmaking types? Not generally, no, they aren't. For the people who care about stuff like that, yeah, XDefiant's fun, but it's really derivative. And I don't mean it in the Pal World way, where even though, like, you can tell where everything came from and why they included it, it doesn't do something that feels different. Pal World did. despite being very derivative, and there's a reason why everybody played it. I don't really see that happening here. Also, Ubisoft is pretty famous for giving up on games, which you might hope that this game becomes a Rainbow Six Siege. That game kind of started off with a unique hook and went from there. X-Defiant just doesn't. It's old school COD, and you can still play a lot of those games now, and there's still better ones than this. And also, for all the talk about no skills-based matchmaking, there is still skills-based matchmaking. There's a welcome playlist, has it. Yeah, I'm not mad about it or anything. It's just kind of funny, because that's the whole thing they're selling this game on, and you get what I'm saying? It's one of those games where it's very, very middling, and I feel like I don't have a lot of negative to say about it, but I am not excited to play more of it. That's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications, and as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter, Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time, right here on GameRanks.
How to kill all mosquitoes in the area in just minutes. This simple but brilliant trick you can do tonight to eliminate all mosquitoes around you is...
Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be huge. We all know this. It's not a question. But there are plenty of questions about what Grand Theft Auto 6 is actually going to look like, and we actually have a lot of the answers. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on GameRanks, 10 ways GTA 6 will make huge changes. Starting off with number 10, making buildings enterable is a priority for Rockstar. Fully explorable buildings, the holy grail.
That's my whole thing all the time. I would prefer a smaller map with more interactive interiors. Instead of having like something like GTA 5 where you got a big ass mountain and all this fucking wilderness and miles of underwater shit. And that's cool. I like that. I'm so happy they made that game that way. Okay, so the next time let's do it a little different. Yeah, because that's too much shit to explore. But once again, that's why people have been playing that game for 11 years. The same game. The same game for 11 years. So much to explore and discover, and once again, so much of it isn't city, where you're just in the wilderness. And then, then they did Red Dead Redemption 2. So much wilderness and foraging and hunting, and okay, it's great. Love that. Especially Red Dead. There's like 2 parts. I almost cried at that game. These motherfuckers. How you making me get so emotionally attached to these goddamn characters? So if they can just shrink the map a little bit and dedicate that memory and all that design to the fucking some more interiors.
Of open world crime games. It's something Rockstar has always wanted to do. We know because they said as much in a leaked memo from 2012, 2 years before GTA 6 even went into production. In that context, they were thinking about the possibility of making a small town GTA to make the idea viable, but that's not the direction Grand Theft Auto 6 is going in. The only thing Rockstar's officially shown is one trailer and a few screenshots, but from even that, it's hard to believe they'd be able to make 100% of the buildings in Vice City and the surrounding state of Leonida. Yeah, I'm trying to say the word like Florida as much as I can, but it's difficult to believe everything would be enterable. There's a lot of ground to cover here. Still, I think there's a lot of reasons to believe Rockstar will have a lot of buildings you can actually go into in this game. One less than credible source is the son of a Rockstar employee who leaked alleged map details of the game on TikTok. They responded in comments saying the game would have 70% of the buildings with actual interiors that you can walk around in. If you're a GTA fan at all, 70% has been memed to death by people who want to believe, along with people who have healthy skepticism, but there could be a kernel of truth to it. I mean, it could be half of them, and he could be bad at math. We don't know. It would be absurd to have every building fully explorable. Like Vice City, which is based off Miami, Florida, is a major American city full of office buildings and apartment blocks. There could potentially be hundreds of apartments per building, depending on the size. That's a gargantuan amount of work, even for a studio as big as Rockstar. But some uncovered patent filings explain how some of this might actually be possible. And number 9, there will potentially be randomly generated interiors in a recently revealed AI patent, which, okay, let's stop there. It's not an AI, it's a database. Really throwing around the words artificial intelligence for basically anything. Like even that new ChatGPT model you can talk to, that's not intelligence. That's machine learning emulating what it can glean from a bunch of information. But this isn't even close to that. It's a freaking database. Okay, got that out of my system, all right? The patent from Take-Two shows that Rockstar may be incorporating randomly generated interiors. I don't know why that warrants a patent, because it's basically a tag system. But at least it does give us a glimpse of the technology that they are going to maybe use to have a shitload of interiors. How it works is that the random objects that appear in buildings are given a tag like old, modern, or industrial. Those objects are tied to specific types or locations, and they're probably tied to specific layouts as well. It's a little more complex than just randomly making one of 3 different chairs appear, though. A lot of these features change over time without retaining permanence in the world. They won't just disappear and reset if you enter and exit a house. Like, they may still be in the house, but be in a different place. I don't know. But with a system like this in place, Rockstar could fill out tons of prefab apartments and houses without having to have a designer painstakingly build thousands of mostly samey interiors. There's no way to know if GTA 6 will actually even incorporate anything from this patent, but it would make sense, especially with how this game is expected to greatly expand on robberies as a gameplay mechanic.
Drive off in our 2024 Kia Forte LXS for only $249 per month for 36 months. All 2024 Kia Sorento and Sportage models,
which we're going to talk about at number 8, robberies.
And that's what I keep thinking too, is like Rockstar has really just been waiting for the technology to catch up to what they want to do, because having the game in development for 10 years, in the past 10 years, people who got their nose to the grindstone doing this shit, they have been seeing the advancements in our computing data, and they have been hearing whispers of what is to come. And so even when, just in the last 2 years, like the advancements from the Unreal Engine 5 to the nanites, what they use with that, what was it? The Matrix demo that they played, they gave us that Matrix demo for free. That was over a year ago. And now, with these AI models being able to help more in procedural generation, Hello Game Studio showed us that with No Man's Sky. That was like 5 years ago. So I can imagine once again that Rockstar has kept a constant pause on this game just to see how much of the newest tech they can pack into this thing. There may be, some real AI agents in the game that will offer a completely unique response to individuals as they play the game, or will have a unique response to something a character does or an interaction they have with each other.
Are going to be a major focus, most likely. I am relying on leaks for this entry, so take it with a grain of salt. I mean, take a lot of this list with a grain of salt. We don't know exactly how credible any of these leaks are, and if they're right, stuff is subject to change. Like, it wouldn't be the first time something leaked and a game developer changed everything because of the leak. With all that said, obviously robberies, at least according to what we know, are going to be a big thing in this game. The defining moment of the trailer is a gas station robbery, and the inspiration of the main duo is Bonnie and Clyde, the famous robbers. Also, it's not like they have to build them from scratch. Red Dead Redemption 2 had extensive robbery mechanics, and the idea that they could start from there and build on it, it would be very easy for GTA 6 to expand on. If the game's going to offer a lot of opportunities for gas station robberies and breaking and entering, it's going to need a lot of interiors, which would explain the pattern. Imagine something like these special side robbery events in Red Dead 2, only the interiors and the events that happen are randomly generated. They could use the random encounter system from Red Dead and expand it out to a full robbery side game where you rob pretty much everything. I'm pretty skeptical the final game is going to include absolutely everything that we're talking about here, but there is a good chance there'll be a lot of repeatable buildings that are enterable and that you can potentially rob. At number 7, the most realistic and reactive NPCs that have ever been in a GTA game are apparently here. Rockstar Games may have the best NPCs around. There's just no competition out there. Like, compared to how much variation in life there are in their NPCs, it's just, I mean, nobody else does it. But in the same patent where they talked about the randomized interiors, they also talked about their new and improved NPC AI models. I mean, again, AI is a stretch, and it really always has been, but we also have always called it AI. But this is all part of a much more granular and complex model for animations, where multiple different context actions can be strung together to create unique and believable interactions that don't require full mocapping, like similar to systems to what CD Projekt Red used for Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077. But with a lot more potential to be more naturalistic. If you've seen the trailers, you've seen some stuff from the background NPCs. The part that's really interesting to me is how the NPC AI is going to work, where NPCs will generate responses based on a number of factors. Like if it's raining, they'll perform certain actions and respond in certain ways. It's similar to the other systems mentioned, where they use a complex tagging system and sort various moods and behaviors in order for NPCs to respond to outside stimulus in more realistic and emergent ways. For example, if an NPC starts flipping out or doing something crazy, another NPC might record them with their phone. And it's not a scripted event or anything, it's the NPC procedurally responding to events around them. It sounds really complex, and video game AI has always been one of the toughest nuts to crack for developers, but if anybody can do it, it's obviously Rockstar. And number 6, driving and traffic is getting a makeover. In yet another patent filing from Take-Two in 2020, we see a system and method for virtual navigation in a gaming environment. It's a mouthful, but the basic idea is to make traffic more immersive and interesting. The basics of the patent don't sound that interesting, but if you look deeper, there's some interesting possibilities. The thing they're talking about is a system where instead of the usual way traffic works in games, where cars just follow preset roads and make on-the-fly decisions when coming into obstructions, the new system has NPCs follow a system of notes for navigation, where obstructions, changes in road conditions, the flow of traffic, things that an actual driver would be aware of, they're all recognized. In this way, traffic isn't just a bunch of vehicles following a track and then reacting when things happen to them. They're more actively engaged with a sense of awareness of the world around them. Combine that previously mentioned stuff about AI systems that have an NPC's mood and behavior affect what they do, and you have a recipe for the driving portion of GTA 6 to be a lot more reactive and interesting. Take all this into account, and driving won't just be more engaging, but police chases could be way more complex. Maybe in GTA 6, you won't just be bombarded with suicidal cops who want to ram you above all else. And obviously, I'm speculating now. Everything in the patent probably isn't going to be used in the game, but it's a distinct possibility. And if it is used, that's something to get excited about. Moving on to number 5.
Estrada Nike trainer, and I'm wearing the Unlimited pants. They're comfortable, they have a great feel, they move with you. And most of all, they make you feel free. And
maybe twice as big as GTA 5. Yeah, fill out another space in your GTA 6 bingo card. This one's pure unadulterated speculation from a rabid fan community, desperate for new information to salivate over. But I wouldn't put it past Rockstar. I mean, just from a technical aspect, Red Dead Redemption's 2 map was quite a bit bigger than GTA 5, and that's a game where you're riding a horse, so it takes a lot longer to get around. I think with the expectation of whatever GTA 6's version of online will be, people are going to want more map, and I expect Rockstar to deliver on that. Will it be twice as big? I can't tell you. Who knows? If you're interested, this entire speculation came from the map coordinates on leaked versions of the game. They saw a negative coordinate, and they assumed that there must also be a positive coordinate of the same number, and just extrapolated from there. Keep in mind, this is from the leaked, in-development version of the game, so there's no guarantee that the coordinates are, accurate, or even that they match up to anything. They could very well be not units comparable to real-life units at all. But it's also not impossible. The speculators could easily be right, even if the map they've been making for years is probably only broadly accurate to what we'll see in the final game. So, will it be twice as big? Maybe, I don't know. But if I had to make a statement one way or the other, I'd say it's probably going to be bigger. How much bigger? Obviously Vice City is a major city on the map, and there's going to be extensive wilderness, but will there be other major cities like in San Andreas? The GTA mapping community seems to think so, for what it's worth. Not to undersell what those guys are doing, but we don't know. And number 4, expect more robust role-playing features. GTA Online is huge, but one of its most popular aspects, role-playing, is totally unofficial. At least that's the case with the current version of GTA Online. It's possible that Online 2 or GTA 6 Online, or whatever Rockstar is going to call it, will feature built-in role-playing tools that don't require mods to function. If you're not aware, there is an entire sub-community of people who play GTA Online, and rather than engage in multiplayer heists and repeat heists over and over, they role-play as mundane jobs or act like they're in a gang or just hang around and chat while pretending to be someone else. It's your traditional MMO-style role players, but with more immersive tools that allow players to do a lot more than the standard game. Rockstar started off trying to fight players who were doing this sort of thing, but now they may be embracing them. Back in 2023, Rockstar acquired CFX.RE, the guys who make the popular FiveM and RedM role-playing mods for GTA 5 and Red Dead 2. The acquisition strongly implies an interest by Rockstar to incorporate these features into the online version of the game. I doubt they want everything those mods did, like increasing player counts or allowing for custom maps, but the stuff that lets people play as different jobs or get immersed in the world of GTA 6, I could definitely see that as a possibility. A lot of GTA Online's most popular viral moments come from role players, and many of the game's most popular streamers roleplay exclusively, so it only makes sense that Rockstar would try to incorporate this stuff into their next game, just on their own terms. Moving on to number 3, the possibilities of a dual protagonist. Even though it's seen as a given at this point, we don't have official confirmation that GTA 6 will have 2 playable characters. The first trailer mostly focused on Lucia, with only brief glimpses of the second potentially playable character, Jason. That's how little we actually know about the game. We don't even know how many protagonists there are, at least not officially. But at this point, it's pretty common knowledge that the 2 playable characters are Jason and Lucia. With only 2 playable characters down from the 3 in GTA 5, there is a lot of potential here to really flesh out both characters' stories and make them more distinct. The character swapping mechanic in GTA 5 is revolutionary and done in a way that I think is probably better than anybody else has attempted to do it, with maybe the exception of Watch Dogs Legion, but the implementation of that, I think, is very limiting. I mean, there's some stuff it does that GTA 5 doesn't do, but it doesn't feel very deep, and like it's impossible to have deep stories in the Watch Dogs Legion type multiple. I'm getting off track. I'm talking about how Watch Dogs Legion could have done more with a multiple protagonist system. GTA 5 could have done more. I mean, maybe they were pushing things to the limit. I don't really know, but I have a feeling they could have, from a narrative perspective, done more. Like swapping characters mid-mission was always scripted. It was only possible during key moments. It was kind of just underutilized, and it only came into play fairly rarely. GTA 6 could completely change that. The leaks tell us that there may be a similar system to San Andreas where both protagonists can gain weight or build muscle mass. There's also the possibility you can give orders to your partner and swap between them instantly during a mission. Lots of possibilities. Like imagine playing as Jason to create a distraction that allows Lucia to sneak around unnoticed. There's a lot of possibilities for tactical depth with this arrangement. Another thing that makes these characters different is that they're in a relationship, which means they're going to be spending a lot more time together, which could have a major effect on how character swapping actually works. There would be a lot less swapping to a character who's halfway across the map, and more switching seats in the car. I don't want to be the driver anymore. I want to play on my phone in the passenger seat. Thank you very much. I don't know how this is going to work. I think it's a safe bet that they're going to try and top the character swapping in GTA 5, but how? I just don't know.
The competitive brother. Not ready for a rematch.
Here, take a free shot.
Nice not to get served.
Seriously?
Get off, Dave. Save money and be protected from mayhem, like me.
Santa Fe versus Honda Passport. Look what Santa Fe has and what Passport doesn't. Hyundai Santa Fe wins every time.
And number 2 is potential new gameplay mechanics. The fan-made document compiling everything known about GTA 6 from leaks is thorough, but it's a questionable source that is at least using what may be outdated information. Games can change drastically during development, so anything listed in the document may not necessarily appear in the final game, but it does offer a glimpse into the possible stuff we'll see in the game. Some features that caught my eye are the new game mechanics. They could make for an overall more interesting experience. GTA 5 may be a revolutionary game in a lot of ways, but combat and stealth mechanics have never really been Rockstar's strengths. They may be trying to turn that around here. The leaks imply some new movement skills like the ability to go prone, switch shoulders while aiming, and the ability to shoot from a car window. The last one could be related to character switching mechanics. You might be able to switch instantly from driving to the passenger seat, where you can lean out of a car window and shoot at enemies, or play on your phone. You drive, I'll play on my phone. I'm joking. We're talking about shooting things. The stealth seems to be more important too, though. It looks like you might finally be able to carry bodies in a GTA game, and some other Red Dead features are here too, like the ability to rob anyone and threaten people. It would certainly make sense with the stick-up we see at the end of the trailer, and I expect a lot of tense standoffs with robbery victims. And the new AI system I mentioned earlier should make these NPCs a lot more reactive and interesting to deal with. Going back to some of the movements, though, going prone stands out to me as a pretty big deal. It sounds like such a simple addition, but it changes so much about how you interact with the environment and makes sneaking a much more viable option. It sounds like player control is going to be a priority in the game, which may be a stark difference to how other Rockstar game protagonists feel, which is often kind of slow and heavy. This all comes from a fan-created document, so it all could be BS. Keep that in mind. I hope it's not, though. I would love it if we had a couple of agile protagonists that can sneak around. And finally, at number 1, seamless lobby switching. This could be revolutionary if applied correctly. Anyone who's played GTA Online knows that the game suffers from server issues, among other things. Loading screens in particular have been an endless source of frustration for players, but it looks like Rockstar's trying to make things better in GTA 6. In yet another Take-Two patent filing, Rockstar seems to be creating a system and method for session management in a multiplayer gaming network. There's a lot to unpack with that, but the central idea is to streamline the process of going online and switching between servers to completely eliminate load times. I don't like load times, so I like that. I like the sound of that. In theory, it could allow Rockstar to do things like split up the map into various server zones, allow for larger player counts in a single instance of the map, or driving to certain parts of the map, the player could seamlessly switch to a new server without having to stop and load. At its most basic, this would hopefully make it so players don't have to sit through loading screens under certain interiors or switch between offline and online game modes. If things work as intended, then everything will just happen behind the scenes without the player noticing. As with anything that comes with playing games online, there's a whole lot of stuff that can go wrong here. A lot of games have attempted the same thing, like Star Citizen and its server meshing, which, to put it mildly, has problems. They are, to be frank, probably the least of Star Citizen's problems as a whole. But Rockstar isn't without sin here either. Remember how GTA Online went for years with the ridiculously long load times? And it was never fixed, and it took a fan to finally pinpoint the problem. These are the guys we're meant to trust. Like, it was such a simple fix, and they fixed it, and it was just completely, better. I'm not saying it's impossible Rockstar completely revolutionized online multiplayer, but GTA Online is still kind of a mess, even if the load times are a lot better. With all that said, the patent itself is still very interesting, and even if all it does is make loading faster, that's a big step up from what people have had to deal with for years with GTA Online. If it does more, who knows? It may actually be a revolutionary piece of technology. I don't know. I'm a YouTube bird. That's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications, and as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter, Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time, right here on Game Rings.
Only bag that folds over and stays open. Ziploc. Unlock life.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
String by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Hey, fella. Hey, let's crack a lackin'. Have you been fucking around with the ChatGPT? I saw you brought it.
Yeah, I just got the 4.0, the one that they've been showing where you could talk to it naturally and stuff.
Duncan had it in the green room. We were talking shit to it.
Yeah.
About it replacing us.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy, it's weird how AI came out of nowhere, and then we're like, how long has this been, being worked on? And then now it's like everywhere. Like my vacuum cleaner has AI now. It's crazy.
What does it do?
It's one of those robot vacs where it scans your whole house and then it detects things using AI. Like, oh, that's shit. Don't run over it.
It's like you dog shits on the floor, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't do a good job because the first thing it did, it went right over this dog shit and just started smearing dog shit through the whole entire kitchen.
Why is your dog shit in the kitchen?
Because once in a while, dog shits don't care. They're like, I have to shit. I don't want
to. That's the problem Jamie has with Carl.
Yeah. It's a little dog thing.
You gotta keep an eye on Carl. Carl will just drop a deuce anywhere.
Yeah.
I think when they're really little, they don't understand outside. Like, everything's so big. like, why would I go outside when I get shit right here? Right. I'm nowhere, don't sleep anywhere near this pile.
Yeah. It's gross, though, having shit smeared all over your floor.
Especially by a super smart AI vacuum cleaner. That's so dumb. Yeah, there's all these different things are going to sync together. Like, that's one of the things that people say about Samsung. Like, people that are Samsung fanboys, like, if you have a Samsung refrigerator and a Samsung TV and a Samsung phone, like, you could use your phone to control everything. Mm-hmm. Your phone will, like, there's I guess there's refrigerators out there. I don't know exactly where they're at right now because I only saw, like, an ad for them, where your refrigerator will tell you when things are going to expire.
Right.
So, so if you got orange juice or something like that, your orange juice is only good for 3 more days. Like that kind of shit.
Yeah. That's only if you place that orange juice with the date facing the camera, probably, Yeah. I think that it's been out for a while, but it doesn't really work great. There's a few things refrigerators do that have too much technology in them.
What impresses the shit about me, and the thing that entices me towards Samsung phones, is the AI with notes. That's a big deal to me. The fact that it can record your podcast for sure, but also you can record a set, and it'll transcribe the set, and then and then summarize into like different parts. Like, this is where you're talking about sucking your own dick, right? This is where you talk about UFOs.
Max Redman, you didn't see this? Did you see this show going around on Twitter?
What?
Feature called Recall on Windows.
Your window? What?
Yeah, I'm gonna play this for you. It's great. It's great.
They introduce memory, right? Photographic memory into what you do on the PC. And now we have it. So it's called Recall. It's not keyword search, right? It's semantic search over all your history. And it's not just about any document. We can recreate moments from the past, essentially.
Here's how it works. Windows constantly takes screenshots of what's on your screen, then uses a generative AI model right on the device, along with the NPU, to process all that data and make it searchable, even photos. I got to try it out. I searched brown leather bag. It came up in visual search. There's no place on this page that it says brown leather bag. It just knows because it sees this brown leather bag. There could be this reaction from some people that this is pretty creepy. Microsoft is taking screenshots of everything I do.
Yeah, I mean, that's why that it can only do it on the edge. Right? So this is like, you have to put two things together. This is my computer, this is my recall, and it's all being done locally.
Yeah. Texas is going to ban my recall. They're not going to let me, like, it's just going to be porn.
I don't trust you at all.
Yeah.
I don't trust you at all. It's all done locally. Oh, I'm sure there's no way the government's going to have access to every keystroke you make and be able to see. Oh, that's ridiculous.
And it's going to summarize everything you do.
Well, not only that, it's not that difficult, especially for government organizations, to get into your fucking computer. Are you connected to a secure Wi-Fi? Are you even using a VPN? Are you, like, what are you doing? What kind of firewall do you have? How many people are sophisticated enough to set it up so that you can't look at everything they do?
It's like your friend's phone yesterday or 2 days ago. That's a straight up virus that he was downloading.
People are saying it's not. People are saying it's just like if you have your case on improperly, it's pressing two buttons at the same time. Or was his phone on the table, Jamie, or was it in his bag?
I do not remember.
I don't remember either. I think if you're I think on some of these Android phones, if you're pressing two buttons at the same time, it reboots, right? So there's a bootloader mode. That's why you can, like, do different things to your phones.
But that bootloader screen does not look like it looks so cheap, dude. It was like the arrow that was in it. I was like, I've seen this arrow. That's clip art. Like, I think it even said Getty Images on the side of it or something.
And then just a barcode. Yeah. Like, why does it have a barcode? What are you buying?
Yeah.
This is not for sale.
Right.
Why does it have a barcode?
Right, and how are you going to scan that barcode with the phone that you're holding? Like,
oh, it's got a barcode. It must be legit.
Right. Yeah, that seems so fake.
That was what
look at that.
Look at all that Chinese writing too. Let's get the fuck out of here. I guess it's Korean because it's Samsung. Do not disconnect USB cable during software update. So it's saying downloading, and it says it in Korean. So it's doing something.
That does not look official.
The thing is, my point was, it took a while. And like, what if he broke his leg?
Right.
Like, what if he just fell on his bike and broke his leg, and now all of a sudden he's got a call for an ambulance, and he's laying there with his fucking shin bone poking out of his calf, and he's gonna sit there while his stupid phone does that.
That's why it can't be real.
Can you reboot that? Can you stop that? Is that possible?
That's what I circled. It said that you could cancel it.
You can cancel it.
Well, that's why when you posted that video, I texted you, tell him to hold down the power button and the up arrow, like reboot your phone, stop doing whatever it's doing.
By the time you sent me that. I always worry about that with Windows, because Windows will start updating my laptop in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that's the worst.
It's like I'll open the laptop, super inspired, ready to write, and it's like, oh, we have to upload your software. This will take 20 minutes. Like, what?
Yeah.
This is stupid. Give me the option to not do this. Like, Mac at least will give me the option. It'll say it up in the corner. You want to, there's a new update available. Do you want to update it?
Right. And then it downloads it, and then goes, do you want to do this right now?
Yeah.
We download it, we do it later.
with Windows, is that normal? I think it was like an old...
Really?
What's that?
This is a setting to turn off like auto updates or whatever.
Oh, there's a setting on Windows as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I must have had it on, just so I don't have to deal with it.
Unless it's an Office thing or something you're dealing with. It's not like...
No, Office gives you a tiny notification at the top of a file. it'll say a new update's available. But you can click out of that easy and just wait.
Yeah, but the problem is like I have automatic updates on Mac, and it'll download it, go, hey, we got this update for you. It won't just like in the middle of doing something, just start like reboot my laptop.
Yeah, mine just rebooted it like the moment I opened it up. But I hadn't used that laptop in a while. It was just sitting there. You know what I want to try? I want to try a laptop with, I'm a big keyboard fan. Like one of the reasons why I write. If I write, I have a home like Mac that I write on. That is, those are nice.
The new keyboards.
Yeah,
the MacBook Pro ones.
They're dope. It really is like a MacBook.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at right now is Red Bands.
How skinny that is.
I know, Jamie has one. This is the new iPad, which is insane. This is it's so insane. It's like, it is as thin as possible where you can still use a USB-C connector.
And I thought this was skinny, and that's twice.
I know, so much. Your phone, which is super skinny, is so much fatter than this iPad. This iPad is amazing. And it has insane battery life too, which is crazy. And it probably has like 2 terabytes, right?
10 hours. This is 1 terabyte, but you can get up to 2 terabytes.
Fucking nuts, nuts. But what I really like is the keyboards on ThinkPads, because ThinkPads have a longer stroke, and when you're writing with keys, like you have more feedback with the longer keystrokes, and then you're more accurate with your typing. And it's been proven, like when people do like how many words per minute can you write, they can write more words per minute on keyboards with better feedback, like longer keystrokes. But Alienware, because a lot of gamers like mechanical keyboards because they have that clicky clack feel and it's like even more accurate. Well, they have a mechanical keyboard now on their laptops. And so I was thinking about getting one of those.
How thick is that laptop, though?
It's not that thick. So it has long key travel. I think the key travel is 1.8 millimeters, which is like ideal. My old ThinkPad had like 2.2, which was nice. Long keystrokes. And you just get real accurate with like your writing. So for me, like, a lot of times I'm writing, I'm stoned. I don't have time to like go back and fucking, I want to just get my thought out while it's in my head. And with an IBM, Lenovo now, a Lenovo ThinkPad, I'm just much more accurate when I'm writing.
Yeah, I like it, but it sounds, I don't know, after a while it's like, God, this is so...
The Mac ones are terrible.
Yeah.
The ones on MacBooks, I have a MacBook, it's fucking terrible to write on. It's really short keystrokes, it's a really like flat key, it's just not good to write on. You can do it. It's definitely better than like writing by hand. Right? I type on it all the time. I do write on it all the time. But it's just when you go over to that ThinkPad, you're like, oh, this is what it's supposed to feel like. Or at home, I have like an ergonomic keyboard that I use on my Mac, and that is like the best. It's like real easy. I'm really accurate. I don't even have to think. I can just write and look at the screen, and I just get it right all the time.
Why don't you use voice though? It's so accurate now.
I don't want to be talking in my house. Some of the things I write. Right. And some of the things I write, I like writing because the thing about writing is, like, say if I'm writing, fucking artificial intelligence. As I'm writing artificial intelligence, it takes longer to write it than it does to think the word. So you're spending more time on each, instead of just barfing out words, like I do when I talk, or sometimes I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying while I'm saying it. When I'm writing and typing, it takes a little longer, so it makes me think a little more, and I have more possibilities open up about where to go with things. So it actually benefits me to slow me down a little, but I still want it to be accurate. I want it to be so slow that I'm fucking with every key. I don't want that. I want accuracy, but a little slower than talking for writing.
Yeah, my problem is like I'll just start writing like an idea or a joke or whatever, and then halfway through I'll look up and I'm like, I fucked up some word or I auto-corrected something and it makes everything not make sense. And I kind of like, fuck, like I wrote this all down and now I don't understand any of it. Like just one word spell checked. Like,
that's true. Well, notes are the best for that.
Yeah, audio notes.
And the thing about the phone is you can do it like while you're in the car. You can press, like if you have Apple CarPlay, you press it on the screen and say, make a voice note. And then you could just make a note. Or just make a note, rather. and it'll make a note for you and leave it in there. It's great. So there's many times that I've like at the end of the night I've done that, and then I go back over it. So what I do is I have like a whole folder that's just ideas. So I get this folder.
Yeah.
These are just ideas.
Yeah.
And some of them, a lot of them have become bits, and some of them I'm just like, maybe one day I'll have something. And so when I write, I go back, same thing. I go back and I look at those, and I'll see if something comes into my head. I'll say, like, because you know, when you start writing, you're just staring at that blank screen, like, what am I writing about? And then I'll just go into the phone and I'll say, what do you got for me? What have I been thinking about? Borders, open borders, okay. Here, okay. What would it be like if there's no borders? How would that suck? What would it be like if there's more borders? Would that suck? And then I'll just start writing. You know?
Wouldn't it be cool to take all our notes, put it in an AI, and like combine this into one story, like a 20-page story?
Right, that'd be like the perfect new 1 hour set.
Yeah.
The thing about AI though is like you're gonna. I've never used AI like GPT to write a joke, but I know people are doing that now. And my thought is, I wouldn't feel as good about it when it was done. Like I don't want it just to be good. I want it to be good, and I want it to have come from my head. You know what I'm saying?
It's not. That's the one thing. It's not there yet. It can't write a good joke. Like all this like shit where he's like Louis C.K. or not Louis C.K. but George Carlin and stuff. That's somebody writing that and just doing that George Carlin voice. Yeah. So
it's not good at writing the jokes.
Because I like to I've experimented like trying to find like a tag for like a joke already. Like you know, this is the scenario, and it's still like dad jokes and Laffy Taffy bullshit. Like a cow walks into a bar.
What I think it would be though, so like you know how like a lot of really good comics hire writers, and generally the writers aren't even as good a comic as them, but like with the way Chris Rock does it, Chris, I haven't talked to him personally. I've heard him talk about it, and I've talked to people who work with him. So one of the things he gets accused of unfairly, people say that he has writers who write for him. Chris Rock writes his own material. What he has is the writers. He bounces the ideas off them, so they come and watch him do the set, and then they say, maybe when you do this, say that first, or maybe expand on this, or I got a tag for that. And so, but those guys who are doing that aren't as good a comic as him. So sometimes you just need other ideas,
it's
right?
like a green room. That's what, you know, a green room, that's what, man, that joke, you should have had this, or, you know.
That happens so, the green room is amazing for that. There's so many times in the green room that we're all trying to work out a bit, and then like Tony will chime in, or Brian will chime in, like, that's it. And then you figure it out. I mean, we rewrote David Lucas's entire fucking act in that green room. But it's, that's one thing. So like if ChatGPT just gave you like ideas, I just need like a framework sometimes. I feel like each subject is just a scaffolding. So I get the scaffolding. Now once I have the scaffolding, I have to build a house. And so, but I have to have a fucking location where I can start building. So the location is the subject, whatever the idea is. And then I start building. That's how I do it. But I mean, everybody does it different, man.
Alright, we almost did 2 hours. So I might try to play a little bit of this X Defiant. What time is it? Alright guys, I'm out of here. I appreciate y'all chilling with me. Like always, you know how we do it. Let me get my ass out this studio, because as soon as I turn that air and that fan off, bro, the temperature started rising, dog. The temperature rising. I'm gonna take my ass downstairs and figure out what I'm gonna eat. I could do a bacon cheeseburger. That sounds good. Bacon cheeseburger and a side salad or something like that. I might hop on the game first though. I do I wanna try to play this X Defiant one more time. I might take that shit off after listening to Game Rinks say the same things I'm saying. It is kind of fun. I'll check it out again, but either way, why can't I stop yawning? Oh boy, I'm feeling a little tired. I don't want to go to bed too early though. Damn. I'll catch y'all downstairs, and if not, I'll catch y'all tomorrow. Peace.